always, Thursday, May 29th, 11 o'clock. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So, for our newcomers here, we do a live show every week. My name is Robert O'Keefe. I'm the creator of Over 55 NJ and the founder of ROK Realty in Red Bank, New Jersey. And what we specialize in is helping people put relocation plans together, whether you're downsizing, upsizing, renting, moving out of state. We help kind of put the whole plan together, help you get organized, and go methodically step by step to get you to your destination, kind of like travel planners, if you remember those back in the day. And we have a saying that great real estate planning is done in advance. So it's never too early to get in touch and start planning ahead for these things, getting some information, getting some questions answered, and even looking at the home if you have a home to sell, or perhaps looking at a home that you may be interested in and just having a few questions on it. A lot of times people reach out to us and they just say, "Oh, I have a question on this one." We just had one today where someone reached out to me and said, "Is this a single family standalone home or is it an apartment complex?" And it just wasn't self evident in the pictures. But we have questions like that all the time. We invite you to get in touch. We have an absolute no pressure and no rush policy. So you can always reach out. You can reach out and enjoy our free resources and always leverage us as a human resource. Very important for us to be reaching out and talking to each other very early on. And we like to put that human component to the great technology resources we have. I don't know if if it's just me, but I feel sometimes I'm always talking to a computer, whether that's on like a chatbot or whether even that's on the line now. I think some of these agents are AI chat agents and computer generated. It's pretty amazing the time we live in. So we like to put a kind of a human touch on it. Now, today, this is one of my favorite topics where we're going to go into what matters most with repairs when it comes to your house. So, this might be a great topic for you if you have a house that needs some repairs, if you're getting ready for putting your house on the market and you're not sure whether to fix this and that. We're going to give you kind of like a punch list and kind of what to expect when it comes to what to fix, what not to fix, what to ignore, and things of that nature. So, what I'll say too is every house is different, every situation is different. That's one of our key components is to reach out well in advance because we can actually go through your home. We can go through that virtually, we can go through it in person, and we can show you exactly what it's going to take to put your home on the market. The New Jersey market is still scorching hot, pretty amazing. We're seeing multiple offers. On average, we're seeing about 8 offers that we're competing against, sometimes more. So there's really no shortage of buyers out there that still need to form their households, get their kids in schools. A lot of people are moving actually back to New Jersey from the Sunbelt states. So it's a really long story short, it's a fantastic market to own in. We're happy just to go through your individual house with you and tell you exactly what you need to what you need to do. And sometimes it may be nothing, so you can save your dollars and help, and we can help you by getting our eyes on it. So let's talk about what fixes move the needle first. So we're going to give you some like low leverage ones and some more expensive ones. The first one is painting. So painting can really touch up a space and transform the whole space. We listed House a Little Sober where the living room was yellow, and we put like kind of like a recommended a neutral color after the initial home consultation. It really brightened up the whole space and made the whole home look like new. So paint, especially neutral tones. We have a little pop up for you here. Fresh walls, baseboards, anything that makes the house look as mint as possible is a worthwhile investment. It's relatively inexpensive, very easy to do. You don't have to move a ton of stuff. Painting is a great way to really freshen up a space at a low cost. Another one is flooring. This one always gets overlooked. And one of the interesting reasons is it's a little bit harder than painting, right? You have to move some furniture out, may require you just to move out of the house entirely for that time period where the flooring's getting done. But I'll tell you what, flooring and new floors make a huge difference when it comes to transforming the whole space. And again, like painting, it's relatively inexpensive and it will transform the whole space for you. Next is like little stuff in the bathroom and kitchens. Now, we're not talking about a big kitchen renovation. We're talking about regrouting. We're talking about refacing some of the hardware. Stuff like that can make a huge difference. A lot of times, we're preparing to list a house in Wayne where all the hardware is new on the cabinets, and it just makes a huge difference in just showing the new buyer what the space could be. We're talking to potential buyers already for that. And we're getting like a lot of younger, like millennial couples that want to live in the house and just kind of like do work as they go along to the house. So if you could show the house that it's not a total dump, I say that kind of like with a grain of salt. If you could just live in it, if it's like semi nice and like you could do a bathroom here or there, a kitchen there, here and there, it could just go a long way. So those are some kind of like inexpensive fixes. Another one is lighting. If you can just change the light bulbs, just get the brightest bulbs you can. Just go to Home Depot or Lowe's or your local hardware store and ask what is the brightest light bulb you can get. That can really put light in the whole space. Whenever we're showing, whenever we're doing open houses, we try and make the space look as bright as possible. So the brighter it is, first impressions are everything. It also looks better for the photos, just making it look bright, airy, just warm and welcoming. So those are some major fixes, just at a low cost. Another one, what I'll add as a bonus is power washing. So power washing, relatively inexpensive, and it really just gets the job done and just transforms, like kind of like makes the whole house look like new. We're in an area where there's a lot of grass that builds up. It's been raining a ton. So if you can just get a power washer just to freshen everything up and just make the house look presentable from the outside, it goes a long way. We recently did one in Ridgewood where we had to power wash just basically not only the house, but also the deck. The deck was just covered in algae. There was a renter that lived in the house for years. So pretty much just power washed the whole space, staged it out a little bit, and just transformed the whole space for less than a couple $1,000s. So really, you could probably get it for a lot less, but it's pretty amazing like how these things can go a long way. That being said, too, is we're opening up our vendor list to you when you work with us. So we can give you the three best people to work with, and you can shop around if you want. We can set up the appointments for you. It's really customized to you, and it's really customized to the individual home. So we invite you to do that. And like I said, a general theme is to reach out well in advance so we can start preparing for these things. Now, let's talk about some things where you don't want to waste your money on. So, by way of a story, I was working with a seller. She was planning to move. She was a little bit all over the place. She was wanted to go out to Arizona at first, then to Florida, then to New Jersey, just basically exploring her options, which we encourage. And in the meantime, I gave her like an idea. I've known her for years. I went over to her house and kind of gave her a punch list of things to get ready. And she basically started like going like super aggressive. She got a roll basically and wanted to like put in new cabinets in the kitchen. She wanted to redo the countertops. I think she even tried to like redo the bathroom in some cases. Like I said, like a little bit all over the place. But I said, just go off the checklist and don't go crazy. On the checklist was simple: just clean everything out, clean out the garbage and all the pool equipment from the deck, make that look a little bit bigger. Most of it's just like cleaning out, patching the walls, decluttering a little bit is our big one. We have a decluttering checklist that we go through with all our clients. But she went like a little bit overboard and just got ahead of herself, which may not be like a bad thing in some cases. But if you're doing more and spending more money than what you need to, it just kind of defeats the purpose. The goal is a liquidation to liquidate the property and maximize the check that you're getting. And if you're spending money unnecessarily, it eats into those returns. And not to mention the biggest expense is time. Very common for sellers to believe they have to do more than what they want, than what they have to do. Saying I have to get this ready, and that ready. I just recently did a home consultation where the seller again wanted to do everything, wanted to do the patios, wanted to do this and that, and just had a huge checklist that just never got done over the years. And this has been going on for a long time. And we could relate to it. It's a very human thing where if you make a large list for yourself, and I do it myself sometimes, and I catch myself where if you just make a laundry list of things and then nothing gets done. So you really want to prioritize, and you really want to do a little bit at a time. You'll be surprised if you just set a timer for yourself saying, hey, I want to clean out this room. I'm going to set a timer on my watch or my cell phone for 30 minutes. I'm not going to do anything for 30 minutes. I'm just going to get started. You'll be surprised what a dent that can make in the project. So what matters least is just like big renovations. A lot of times we get buyers that want to redo the kitchen themselves. They want their own finishes. Some of them are very picky, and some of them want to see the value that they would create in the home. Like the house I was just explaining in Wayne, this kitchen needs to be redone. And we're talking to buyers already that just want to put their finishes on it. A couple like really smart kids that want to buy, a couple engineers that we spoke to. But they just want to fix it themselves. Another buyer I'm working with just wants to do his own work. So just to be redoing making major renovations, spending money on that could really hurt you in the long run. Kitchens, like new appliances, new roof. You always kind of, especially in a market like this, unless the roof is leaking and damaging the home, we suggest kind of letting it go for the next buyer. A lot of times during the home inspection report, if the roof isn't explicitly leaking, the buyers will bypass it and just kind of take into that account sometimes in their offers, and sometimes not. They'll just buy it, just knowing they have to replace the roof. So doing like a major renovation like that, roofs tend to be expensive. Kitchen renovations are expensive. You really want to bypass that, and it really makes really kind of really depends on the house too and the situation. So I want to be careful about making these recommendations in this case, but you just really want to do the minimal as possible and just watch your budget, because like I said, those big repairs can eat into your returns and also could hurt you at the end of the day. Another is high end appliances. I want to say you just kind of let the appliances go. I've seen the other month I saw some heating systems and some hot water heaters that were probably 40 years old, original American made, just like beautiful, that you would never get them to last as long. In these days, they last about 15 years otherwise. But you just let them run until they don't run anymore unless it's a safety hazard. Um, Here's another one. One of my favorite ones is luxury upgrades that don't match the neighborhood. I remember years ago, I was in Sea Caucus, met a seller, and he turned his place into this like Italian villa, like super bizarre and just very strange. Did not fit in the neighborhood. If you've ever been to Sea Caucus at all, it just doesn't fit, and it just didn't match the neighborhood. So you just want to be care about like going like too crazy and just going too bold on your renovations as well. Now, let's flip the script a little bit. If you're buying, what do you want to look for in resale homes? One is you want to take into account the roof and the condition. So on the flip side, you want to make sure that you're budgeting enough for the roof. Roofs tend to go we see them a big range, but anywhere between $10,000 to $25,000. We can actually do an estimate for you with our technology on what a basic roof would cost for the specific property. But they go by square footage of the roof. They call it squares in the roofing business. Getting a little technical here, but basically, you just want to watch out for that and just want to make sure that you're budgeting enough for that, and just budgeting anything for future repairs. We do recommend home warranties are great for that, and we can guide you in the best direction when it's time for that, just to protect yourself. Foundation cracks or uneven floors. This will come up in the home inspection. So definitely want to watch the foundation. I had a client that we backed out of the house because basically we got estimates for over $100,000 of foundation work. So the foundation's everything. If the house can't stand, it's not worth a lot of money. So definitely want to watch out for the foundation issues and major issues like that. Water stains or signs of leaks. So you definitely want to watch out for those as well. You definitely want to find the source of the water, obviously. You definitely want to get that fixed. Water will just pull up and keep compiling, kind of like snowballing. So watch out for those, but just pay attention to those. You can ask a seller to fix it, or you can just fix it, find the source of the water, just figure out where the source is coming from before you sign on the dotted line, and make sure it's a fixable problem, which most of the time it is. And then one of my favorites too is the age of the HVAC and hot water heaters. Now these are hard to get, but we actually have technology that can kind of pull the serial number and just detail how old these systems are. So you just definitely want to budget for that, and just want to make sure that you have enough money to cover those repairs, and just kind of look out for those as well. So those are very important things to look forward to. Another thing is mold or musty spells, especially in basements. You just definitely want to be aware of that. Just kind of see where that water is coming from. Sometimes a lot of basements are musty. Sometimes they're bone dry. You just want to see where that water is coming from and absolve the problem. We did one in a 55 plus community in Greenbrier too, and we found that the seller had too much vegetation around the house where the water was pulling up and kind of like leaking through, and just like kind of creating like dampness in the basement. So that old musky smell is filling in. So they're going to have like a lot of landscaping done, rip all that up, and put the vegetation away from the foundation of the property. So it's kind of like a detective work. Myself and the home inspector can go through that with you, make sure that we're discovering the source of that smell and discovering where the water is coming from. Slope grading outside, possible water issues. Kind of goes into what I was just speaking about. That was another example where the grade was sloped towards the house. You definitely want to slope it away from the house to get the water flowing out away from the house. Then the electrical panels. Believe it or not, there was actually a live wire in this house we were selling. So definitely want to watch out for that, which was shocking because the owner was kind of older just to have like an old wire up there. So definitely want to just take care of the safety issues. We have great home inspectors for you to choose from. We make sure the house is safe, most importantly, before we buy. Now, let's go through some bonus cosmetic fixes. Um, so this is stuff that can like really be redone. So when you're on the other side, you always want to look out for this. Some like the pictures online will always make the house look perfect, but if the home has like ugly paint or ugly colors, this is a very easy fix and inexpensive fix. When I was buying my house personally, the colors were just like kind of terrible. Um, my wife basically had a field day just like picking out the new colors and saying, "Oh, this color is terrible. They have such bad taste." Blah blah blah. But you'll be surprised how easy it is to transform the whole house by just making it just painting it and making the house look beautiful. So that's an easy fix. That's not something to worry about. We kind of actually look out for those because it is such an easy fix and it can make such a big difference. And also, a lot of buyers can't kind of see beyond that. They don't have the vision. Outdated furnitures. Sometimes the houses just don't sell well. So if the house isn't furnished, it doesn't sell well. If it doesn't show well, we look out for that as well. Clutter in the rooms. Another is outdated fixtures like fake shutters that could be torn off. That makes the house look better. Things of that nature. These things are easy just to get rid of. A lot of times, simple handyman can do it and just take it out for you. So those are things we look forward to, simple upgrades that can make the home look a lot better. Don't let we have a saying, just don't let the bad decor stop you from seeing the good bones. So just kind of value the house and kind of see beyond that. And we can help you do that on our showings. So what to do next? Sellers, what you want to do is you want to walk your home and just pretend you're a buyer just going through. We call it walking it through with the buyer's eyes. Just spot any red flags and write them down. You can always leverage us for that, whether we are happy to stop by or do a FaceTime call, where we could just go through the house with you and just kind of get our eyes on it as well. There is a seller's disclosure that's required by the state of New Jersey now. This takes about 10 minutes to complete. So there are some basic questions that you might want to get ahead of in terms of, just kind of seeing like what is required for you to disclose. We're happy to send that to you. If you want a copy, just write copy in the comments so you can kind of see ahead of time. But those are kind of things that like you'll have to disclose and then what you would have to bring to a potential buyer's attention. And like I said, you could always leverage us for that. Very easy. We have a lot of people reach out to us to kind of see what their home is worth, what they would have to do. That's usually the first step in the conversation. Buyers, what I would do is make a checklist, especially before every showing. Before we send you out and before we go out, we have a checklist of exactly what we're looking for. But we actually have like a checklist of red flags, things to watch out for. So make sure you're super prepared before you make an offer and before some of these things come up. When I was starting my career in Hudson County, we used to watch out for oil tanks and the filler pipes coming up. So we would basically give the seller a heads up that there's no oil tank on the property even before the tank sweep. And a lot of people are like, "How do you know that?" Well, we know how to spot them. So it's kind of like that, where you just want to get ahead of the game and just get your eyes on it, and you kind of have this from experience with showing a lot of real estate. So that being said, we're happy to do the pre-listing walkthrough. If you want us to have eyes on the property, we can do so on FaceTime. We're also happy to come over and just walk through the property with you. Just go over the selling points. We can meet each other, get to know each other. Absolutely no pressure. Happy to give some value back and just help you get ahead of the game. And like I said, sometimes these walkthroughs are done like maybe a year or so in advance. Sometimes you're just thinking about it, but it's always good to get ahead of the game. Like we say, great real estate planning is done in advance. And for buyers, we're happy to have a consultation with you. We usually do that over Google Meet or a phone call, even where we can just go over the market, go over a checklist, and kind of curate the searches for you on our website. We have every single 55 plus community on our site at over 55nj.homes. But what we recommend is kind of like focusing it first by capping a price point. Next, by capping if you want a single family home versus an apartment style. Some people don't care. Some people do prefer the single family. Some people want to live in an apartment, believe it or not. So that would be the next cap. And then third, going by location, where we could set these searches up for you, or you could set it up yourself in favorite homes. You're welcome to do that. Just explore around the sites and then set up a digest for yourself so you can kind of get ideas and see what you like. And a pro tip too is creating a Google document or a document on your phone where you're just taking notes of what you like, what you don't like. Because I guarantee you, if you don't write it down, you're most likely going to forget it, at least in my experience. So take notes, learn by comparison, take in more information, and remember to filter down on your searches and your criteria. That was a lot of great information. I know I covered a lot. If you want additional information or if you have additional questions, you're welcome to reach out to me. We're going to open up to some Q&A, and then we'll get you out of here on this rainy Thursday. What's one common mistake that also directly harms a buyer's perception of value? What's one common seller mistake that also directly harms a buyer's perception of value? I would say renovations, but also poor renovations, the cheap fixes. Man, I was representing a seller that just wanted to fix everything himself. He had this idea in the head where he wanted to meet the buyer. I just wanted to fix everything when the buyer would just say thank you and just basically shake hands and say, oh, you left the house in such great shape for me. But in reality, the buyer just kind of used it to negotiate more leverage. Oh, you didn't fix this right. You didn't do this the right way. He was a negotiator. So we do recommend trying to give credits in this case, in this story. But this guy was very handy, or at least he thought he was, where he wanted to fix everything himself. So you really want to be careful about doing your own renovations and your upgrades. Just because you think something is good or something that it's something that you would like doesn't mean it's right for everybody. So before you spend the money, before you spend the effort, make sure to think twice and also give us a call. We're happy to take a look for you. There's a lot of bad renovations out there, and you can just tell them right away what's a bad renovation versus what's a good renovation. Can you just bring that? Can bad decor ever truly mask a serious underlying structural issue? How can bad decor ever? Not really. I mean, basically, these structural issues come up in the home inspection. So the home inspector will just go through that, look at the structure of the house, look for any structure issue. Um, can't really hide those, during the home inspection. And then you always want to look out for those if you're buying. So the answer is no to that question. For a seller with zero budget for upgrades, what's the absolute best strategic move? It really depends on the house and your individual situation. So we could just go through it together. But the best thing, and probably at the top of the list, is what we call decluttering and depersonalizing. If you could just declutter some rooms, throw some stuff out, donate some stuff, that's probably moves the needle the most out of everything we discussed. It's just making the home look as big as possible and having buyers imagine themselves in the home. And you do that by just removing as much of your stuff as possible, but also taking down the pictures of yourself, picture of your family, just putting them away for the time being, just to kind of give a big blank canvas of what the house could be. So that is free, but it's also a lot of sweat equity. But the exercise could be good for us. What's the most common misjudgment sellers make regarding what's worth fixing? They probably just, it's a good question, and everybody's different. But I would say the most common is just kind of judging themselves what they would want. Maybe it's like, oh, I don't really like the way this stove works, or this microwave's not that good anymore. I have to put it on for 3 minutes or 4 minutes instead of 2 minutes. A lot of times buyers won't know that. A lot of times, like they're just looking at the main things, like the painting, how the house looks initially. First impressions are everything. So it's kind of just taking yourself. The trick is to kind of take yourself out and imagine what a person would see looking at the house. And that being said, too, this just popped into my mind is you just definitely want to bring a professional like us in. I was just talking to someone who basically had her uncle come over and look at the house and said, well, you don't want to, he basically recommended, well, you either want to put the house on the market this spring or next spring because people don't look at houses in the fall. So some people can be sincerely trying to help you, but be sincerely wrong. And that was the case in this situation where the market's just like really crazy hot, especially in the fall time. People want to get their kids in before the school system in a lot of cases, and fall is a great time to look for homes. A lot of times people want to be in their home before the holidays. So it's just an example of someone that could be saying, go through your house and say, you need to do this, that, and just be completely mistaken, but sincerely trying to help. So you just always want to take everybody's advice with a grain of salt and ultimately maybe just bypass it altogether. How do rapidly changing interest rates affect seller upgrade choices and buyer expectations? Usually, sometimes significantly, sometimes not. So, someone that's actively looking to buy a home, someone that we're actively targeting, is not going to let the interest rates stop them in most cases. Many times, the people we're seeing that are putting in aggressive bids to buy a home are millennials that are trying to form their household. We call these the household formation years. So, a lot of times, these people don't really have a choice to not buy. Some people have children on the way, some people live in two-bedroom condos and they need more space. So if the interest rate goes up, kind of tough, but there's also ways around that. There's adjustable rate mortgages. They could put more of a down payment down in some cases. If someone's truly interested, the interest rate can't stop them. And those are the buyers we actually target. People that are working with buyers agents, those are generally the best buyers. People that have been outbid on multiple houses and people that definitely need a place to stay and that are over the home looking process. Those are the best buyers. And those are the buyers that usually win the bidding wars on the homes we list. Might slap someone initially, but not someone that's in it. What's the most effective, low cost way a buyer can identify potential water issues at home? One is just this sounds obvious, but looking. So looking for any signs of stains. Another is this one's kind of a pain, but when it's raining, just maybe try this every quarter where you just go outside and with your raincoat and your umbrella and just kind of see where the water's going when it's raining. A lot of people will never do this, but you can identify problems. So a lot of times the water that's coming in is usually due to a broken gutter. Usually the water is graded towards the home. Maybe water's pooling in a certain place. But this is like a low expensive way, a wet way of doing it. But just a low expensive way is just to set a reminder every quarter and just check the water coming into your house from the rain and also keeping your eyes open when you're showering, when you're using the sink. Just take care of leaks and clogs before they get out of hand and being proactive. What's the first sign of potential DIY electrical issues a buyer should spot? The first sign. So one is hanging wires. At the one house we were speaking about, the live wire was just hanging from the ceiling. Another is like, let's say if the plug is short circuiting when you're plugging it in or something's not right. Another is if there's no power coming to an outlet. Usually it's pretty self-evident with a power issue. We just take it for granted. We walk in the room, we turn this on, we plug our phone in to charge it. But just kind of look out for those signs. Take care of any hanging wires. There could be a safety hazard. And then another thing to do is put the GFCIs in the bathroom and near the kitchen. Some old houses don't have them, but this is an absolute safety recommendation to put those GFCI switches in those locations where there could be water coming up. The last question, best for last. Beyond ROI, what's the most overlooked non-financial benefit of a well-executed pre-sale repair? I would say it's just something you use. So for me, like when I was getting ready to sell my condo before I moved into my house, it was the washer dryer that went. Just something that I always use, something that I had to use. So I would say you just go functionality there. You go something that is proactive. It's something that has to be patched in the roof, like the flashing needs to be redone, where there could be a water stain, you do that. If it's something that needs to be taken care of before you put the house on the market, whether it's painting over some old water spots, maybe where there was a previous leak that showed water there that no longer applies anymore. You definitely want to paint over those. But I would say go functionality first, and then cost effective. Uh, Something that's cost effective next. Something that you would use. And like I said, we're always there to help you with this. So, um, these are great questions, but don't go it on your own. Every situation is different, and we're always happy to help. That being said, perfect lead in. You could always schedule a time to talk. Over55nj.chat is a link where you can just go and get on our Calendly link where you can just go and book a call. This way we never miss each other. Over55nj at gmail.com is our email address. We read every email, and we can get you set up on searches for 55 plus communities or non 55 plus communities. If you just want a single family solution, the one we're going to put up on in Wayne is perfect for that. Just single level mudroom. You just enter through your garage, no stairs at all. Some people, it's very common, they look for 55 plus communities, but then they switch over to a solution like that, like either a ranch or a cape where there's no stairs at all. You'll be surprised, like a lot of condo complexes don't have no stair solutions. So that being said, like there's something for everybody. So we're happy to navigate you that we're happy to help you navigate through that and answer all your questions. All right. Thanks for all the great questions. As always, we're very blessed to serve you. It's an honor to serve you. We look forward to hearing from you. Like I said, email us at over55nj at gmail.com. Send us a direct message. We definitely look forward to seeing you on the next one. Keep the questions coming. These questions are amazing, and we definitely want to hear from you what you want to cover so we can start putting on these presentations and answer your direct questions. And we're always here. Again, I'm so thankful to put this on for you. Our community is growing, so we're very blessed and very happy to have you here. So feel free to reach out anytime. We'll talk soon, and we'll see you on the next one.